So I want you to picture yourself just standing there, completely exposed, in the middle of a screaming Category 5 hurricane.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, right? The wind is deafening, debris is just flying past your face, you barely even open your eyes,
Yeah.
and every single muscle in your body is clenched, just trying to stay upright against this massive gale.
Sounds exhausting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That absolute chaos, that sheer physical and mental exhaustion. Well, according to the source material we are unpacking today, that is actually how most of us are living our lives on the inside.
Well,
Every single day, completely without even realizing it.
yeah, it's this profound level of baseline exhaustion. We basically walk around carrying this internal hurricane of, anxieties, ambitions, just endless mental chatter.
Right.
And our text today argues that this constant internal turbulence isn't just stressful, it is fundamentally destructive to our life force.
Which brings us to today's topic. In this deep dive, we're exploring a really fascinating 2011 translation. It's a text called Cultivating the Skill of Stillness by an author named Tue Feng. And, to be clear right off the bat, this is not a casual guide to winding down after a long day at the office.
Well, not at all.
This text presents a highly esoteric, remarkably rigid framework aimed at achieving what it calls Buddhahood, or, and this is a quote, attaining the 64 divine powers of a super-celestial being.
Yeah, it's quite the promise.
It really is an instruction manual for a total spiritual overhaul.
And the scope of what the author is promising is just massive. When you see terms like 64 divine powers, it really signals that we're dealing with a text that views spiritual practice not as a psychological coping mechanism, but as a literal transformation of human capability.
Right, a literal transformation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the text frames this immense potential with a very stark, very immediate warning. The author explicitly cautions the vast majority of people reading the text against even attempting the practices outlined within it.
I found that warning genuinely startling. You rarely open a spiritual guidebook only for the author to basically say, stop, turn back, doing this wrong will break your mind.
Yeah, it's a huge red flag right at the beginning.
It claims that attempting to cultivate this profound level of stillness without a very specific years-long foundation will literally lead to mental collapse.
Which is terrifying.
So our mission today is to figure out what makes this version of stillness so incredibly potent and, frankly, so dangerous. We're going to explore the strict prerequisites required to even begin, and then the really mind-bending paradoxes involved in actually executing the practice.
And to grasp why the stakes are so high, why doing it wrong could actually fracture someone's psyche, we first have to look at the text's core operating principle regarding energy.
Okay, let's get into it.
So the author lays out a definitive thesis. Quote, all things are born from stillness and perish through motion.
Perish through motion.
Right. It completely inverts the modern societal view where, action, hustle, and constant movement are equated with vitality and life.
Yeah, we tend to view a body at rest as lazy or unproductive. But Ziething frames motion and turmoil as actively corrosive. The text claims that unnecessary movement, whether that's physical restlessness or just, mental scheming, actually shortens your life and breeds illness.
It's literally wearing you down.
Right. The author uses this vivid phrase, saying motion creates anguished cries like raging winds and storms. It actually makes me think of a snow globe.
Oh, a snow globe. I like that.
Yeah, so when you pick up a snow globe and you shake it, the energy inside is entirely chaotic. The little plastic flakes are swirling everywhere, the water is murky, and you basically can't see the miniature scene in the center at all.
That is a perfect analogy. And if we apply the text's mechanics to that snow globe, the act of shaking it is literally burning up the water inside.
Wow. Okay.
The author asserts that motion actively consumes our vital life force. So every anxious loop in your head, every, performative action just to impress a neighbor is a leak in your energy reservoir.
It's just draining you.
Exactly. Conversely, the text states that the divine dwells in stillness, while demonic forces reside in movement. And I want to be clear, we're just reporting what the text says here.
Right. Just conveying the source material.
Yeah. But stillness isn't a passive nap in this context. It is the active state of preserving and concentrating your life force.
So when you stop shaking the snow globe,
the flakes settle. And the text claims this settling engenders wisdom, keeps the spirit at ease, and fosters genuine longevity.
Okay, so if stillness is this ultimate healing state where the divine resides, The immediate reaction for anyone reading would be, well, I want to start practicing immediately.
Of course.
But that brings us right to that massive roadblock we mentioned earlier. Xu sets up an incredibly exclusive velvet rope in front of this tranquility.
You're the gatekeeper.
Yes, the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
The text states that this practice is strictly reserved for those who have lived in the second home for over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
Yeah. And based on our sources, the second home refers to Lifechanyuan, which is a specific, structured, intentional community where members actively step away from traditional family and societal structures to live communally.
So the physical environment is an absolute prerequisite for the mental state. You can't just do it in your apartment in the city.
Exactly.
And beyond living in that specific communal setting, the text demands that the practitioner must have already completely detached from worldly bonds, created an internal soul garden, and returned to a state resembling a child.
Resembling a child, that's a tall order.
It really is. The author uses a striking metaphor here, stating that trying to force this level of stillness before you've achieved those prerequisites is like drowning sorrow with wine or cutting water with a knife.
Cutting water with a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle with this concept a bit, to be honest.
How so?
Well, telling a highly stressed person, someone living outside of a commune who probably really needs some peace, that they aren't allowed to access this deep peace, feels incredibly exclusionary. It feels like spiritual gatekeeping, you know?
I get that.
If someone needs stillness the most,
Mm.
why bar them from the very methods that provide it?
It definitely looks like gatekeeping from the outside, but within the logic of the text, it is a crucial safety mechanism.
Okay, explain that.
Think of the human mind as a computer operating system. We are talking about installing a massive, complex, next-generation spiritual software.
Right, the 64 divine powers.
Exactly. Now, if you try to run that immense program on hardware that is still cluttered with old files, so ambitions, financial anxieties, deep attachments to status or relationships, the system literally can't handle the processing load.
Oh, I see.
The hardware overheats. The cognitive dissonance between a mind desperate for worldly success and a practice that demands absolute emptiness is what causes the mental collapse the author warns about.
It crashes the system.
Precisely. The hard drive must be entirely wiped and formatted before the installation can even begin.
Okay, that reframes it significantly. You literally have to clear out the old operating system to survive the upgrade. So, assuming a practitioner has done that, they've spent the years in the community, they've detached from worldly anxieties, and they are truly ready. The text then outlines a series of methods to actually achieve this state.
The 8 methods.
Right. And the first major theme across these instructions is a radical demand for unlearning. It goes far, far beyond just sitting quietly.
Oh, absolutely.
The text demands that you forget everything you've ever been taught by gods, Udas, or celestial beings. You have to forget all written texts.
The author even takes it a step further, which is wild, by commanding the reader to forget Xuefeng's own guidance.
Wait, his own teachings?
Yes. The text explicitly says to let go of Chanyuan values, which are the very core principles of the intentional community the practitioner is required to live in.
That's crazy.
It really demonstrates a remarkable structural integrity within the philosophy, though. The teachings themselves are acknowledged merely as a vehicle.
Oh, it's like using a ladder to climb onto the roof of a house.
Hey.
You absolutely need the ladder to get up there. But once you are standing on the roof, you don't need it anymore. You have to kick it away.
You have to. If you carry that heavy ladder around while trying to walk on the roof, you are going to lose your balance and fall.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But the text pushes this even further, right? Demanding the practitioner cast aside not just fears of death or disgrace, but also what we consider, positive traits.
Right, the good stuff.
Yeah, virtue, kindness, righteousness, and propriety. I mean, letting go of anger is standard spiritual advice, but being told to stop being a good person is incredibly jarring.
It is jarring, but in this framework, consciously trying to be virtuous or righteous is a performance.
The performance?
Yeah, it requires a tremendous amount of internal effort to constantly monitor your behavior and ensure you are being seen as kind or morally upright. That performance is an act of the ego. And therefore, it is a form of internal motion. The text argues that by discarding the conscious effort of virtue, the practitioner aligns directly with the Tao. Goodness and appropriate action then flow from the person automatically.
Just naturally.
Completely naturally, entirely without the friction of conscious effort or self-congratulation.
That lack of friction is actually perfectly captured in how the text advises practitioners to engage with the modern world, specifically the internet.
Oh, this part is fascinating.
It instructs them to avoid deep study of written texts, reading only the book without words. And when it comes to online forums, the instruction is to use them strictly for amusement and play.
Just for play.
Yeah, no debating, no trying to win arguments. You're supposed to observe the chaotic affairs of humanity, wait for it, like the moon in the sky.
Like the moon in the sky. I love that phrase. It's the ultimate distillation of detached observation.
Yeah.
Think about it. The moon looks down on the earth, illuminating everything, the storms, the wars, the bitter online arguments, but it remains completely untouched by the atmosphere.
It's just up there.
Right. It doesn't swoop down to intervene or prove a point in a comment section. It simply remains in its orbit, providing light without taking on the burden of the chaos it observes.
But there is a massive risk here, isn't there?
What do you mean?
Well, if you completely empty your mind, abandon all societal rules of virtue, and view human affairs from a million miles away like the moon, you risk dissociating entirely.
Oh, sure.
You could just float away into complete psychological detachment.
The author actually seems to anticipate this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is why the text introduces a very rigorous physical anchor to keep the practitioner grounded in their body.
Okay, so what's the anchor?
The radical mental emptiness has to be counterbalanced by intense physical tuning. So the text mandates about an hour of specific Chanyuan health exercises every single day.
Every day.
Every day. The focus is on harmonizing the practitioner's intention, breath, and movement. It requires making the breath long, continuous, and subtle, and specifically directs the practitioner to absorb the essence of the sun and moon, storing that energy in the dantian.
Okay, and just to clarify for those unfamiliar, the dantian is a concept used in various traditional Chinese practices, martial arts, and meditation. It refers to a central focal point of energy, typically located in the lower abdomen.
Right.
So the stillness isn't just an abstract mental concept. It involves literally collecting and storing vital energy in a physical location within the body.
Exactly. It's very physical.
But alongside this physical exercise, the text issues a lifestyle requirement that is actively hostile to the ego.
It directly attacks the very common spiritual trap of exceptionalism.
Exceptionalism.
Yeah, often spiritual pursuits are subtly driven by a desire to become a master or an enlightened being or someone with a grand world-saving mission.
Oh, like a savior complex.
Exactly. This text forbids that entirely. It commands the practitioner to integrate completely into the ordinary and the unremarkable.
It doesn't just forbid it, though. It threatens severe consequences.
It really does.
The text states that those who crave unusual flavors will suffer from unusual diseases. It warns that harboring eccentricities leads to peculiar ailments, scheming brings sinister misfortunes, and exhibiting strange behaviors results in extraordinary poverty.
It is intense.
It is basically the most aggressive argument against having main character energy that I've ever encountered.
That is a great way to put it. No main character energy allowed.
But I want to understand the mechanism here. Why would trying to be special, specifically, result in weird diseases or poverty?
It comes back to the energetic mechanics we discussed earlier with the dantian and the snow globe. When you try to be exceptional, when you adopt strange eccentricities or position yourself as a superior master, you're forcing the universe to accommodate your ego.
You're creating friction.
Massive energetic friction. In the logic of this text, that friction acts as a bottleneck in your spiritual and physical circulatory system. You are absorbing vital energy from the sun and moon, but by clenching your ego to maintain a special persona, that energy stagnates.
It gets trapped.
Right. It cannot flow naturally. This stagnation, this trapped internal motion, eventually manifests in the physical realm as strange ailments or a streak of supposedly sinister misfortune.
So the extraordinary poverty isn't a magical curse sent down to punish you for being arrogant.
No, not at all.
It is the natural, inevitable downstream consequence of blocking your own energy flow. By fighting the natural order to stand out, you basically break your own machinery.
Exactly.
The alternative the text offers is to be entirely plain. Minimal desires, a regular lifestyle, avoiding excessive anger or greed, you become utterly unremarkable.
Because by becoming unremarkable, you become entirely aerodynamic to the universe.
Aerodynamic, I like that.
You just slip through life without creating ripples. This allows your energy to flow continuously into the dantian without obstruction. The text notes that relying on clever techniques or exceptional skills always results in missing some aspect of the truth.
Interesting.
Only a mind that is completely plain and unburdened by the need to be special can grasp the entirety of the great Tao.
This paints a very distinct picture. I mean, you are physically grounded, breathing deeply into your center. You have kicked away the ladder of virtue and teachings. You are deeply, intentionally ordinary.
Hmm.
But what does that person actually do all day?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right. If you are entirely plain and observing everything like the moon, are you just sitting on a cushion in a dark room until you ascend to a celestial state? This leads to what feels like the ultimate secret of the text, the concept of active stillness.
And the author introduces a profound philosophical distinction here, stating clearly that, quote, true stillness exists amidst movement.
Amidst movement.
Yes. The text actively condemns what it calls desolation, which is the act of just sitting lifelessly like a statue, completely withdrawn from the world. It states that this desolate state benefits neither the practitioner nor society.
But that sounds like a fundamental contradiction.
How so?
Well, if I am moving through the world, talking, working, interacting with people, how can I possibly be in a state of true stillness?
It's a great question. The paradox is resolved by splitting the human experience into two distinct spheres.
Okay.
There is the internal nature and the external mind. The text explains that stillness belongs to your nature, while movement belongs to the mind.
So it's not about being physically paralyzed.
No, the goal is not physical paralysis. The goal is to allow your mind to engage with the necessary tasks of daily life. Sweeping the floor, having a conversation, walking through a busy marketplace, while your internal nature, your core essence, remains as immovable and untouched as a massive mountain.
Oh, it's like the surface of the ocean versus the deep trenches.
Oh, perfect analogy.
The surface, the mind, has waves and currents, right? It interacts with the wind and the boats. It gets the daily tasks done. But thousands of feet down, the deep water, your nature is utterly silent, completely undisturbed by whatever weather is happening above.
Exactly.
So if your internal nature is completely clear, you are experiencing true stillness regardless of what your physical body is actually doing.
Precisely. Your actions are no longer driven by anxious attachments, ego, or the desire for recognition. You are moving through the world, but you are not creating any new energetic friction.
Wow.
And this perfectly sets up the final instruction in the text, which sounds almost like a protocol for a spiritual secret agent.
It really does. The text instructs that if you actually manage to achieve this state, you must keep it an absolute secret. You are not allowed to display your stillness or speak about your enlightenment at all.
Not a word.
Instead, your job is to silently bestow blessings on everyone you encounter, treating friends and enemies, the beautiful and the ugly, with total equality.
The practitioner is tasked with moving through the world and dissolving conflict, dispelling darkness, and smoothing out turmoil. But the critical component is that they must do this without a trace.
You don't step into the middle of a tense room and announce, hey, I am here with my profound stillness to mediate this dispute.
Right, no grandstanding.
You don't write a book about how you save the day. You simply shift the energy of the room, silently absorb and neutralize the tension, and then, as the text beautifully puts it, you return to emptiness. You walk away without claiming a single ounce of credit.
Taking zero credit is the ultimate failsafe to prove that you actually mastered the earlier steps.
Because of the ego.
Exactly. If you require acknowledgement for healing a situation, your ego is still intact. And if your ego is intact, you are experiencing internal motion, which means you have lost your stillness.
It really is an interconnected, self-regulating loop.
It is.
You perform the physical exercises to anchor the body. You empty the mind of teachings to dissolve the ego. And you dissolve the ego so you can actively move through the world, healing it silently, without ever disturbing your own internal peace.
It is an incredibly elegant, cohesive system.
It really is. So to trace our path today, we started by recognizing that the constant internal motion most of us live with is literally bringing up our life force, while stillness serves as the dwelling place of the divine. We examine the severe gatekeeping, realizing that a cluttered, ego-driven mind just cannot survive the installation of this profound emptiness.
And we unpacked the necessity of radical unlearning, where even virtue and the teachings themselves must be discarded to prevent the exhausting performance of being good.
Right. And we saw how trying to be a special main character creates energetic blockages that manifest as illness and poverty, requiring the practitioner to embrace the deeply ordinary.
And finally, we uncovered the paradox of active stillness, the ability to be the deep, undisturbed ocean while simultaneously acting as a silent agent of peace in a chaotic world, leaving absolutely no trace behind.
And according to Zwifing's text, mastering these methods isn't about mere stress relief.
No, the ultimate objective is cosmic in scale. The text asserts that only through this unyielding, active stillness can a person finally perceive their true nature. And perceiving that true nature is the singular path to attaining Buddhahood or ascending to the status of a celestial being.
It is a staggering journey from basic breathing exercises to literal divine transformation.
It truly is.
And while you, listening right now, might not have spent 2 years in the second home, and you might not be actively chasing 64 divine powers today, the fundamental premise of this text offers a completely different lens through which to view our modern lives.
It really does.
Think about the text's core warning. Motion and turmoil consume our life force, while stillness preserves it. Now hold that thought and look at the structure of our entire modern economy.
Oh,
Our society functions entirely on the very demonic motion this text warns against. Again, just using the text words there. But it requires us to constantly strive, to self-promote, to hustle, to harbor ambitions, and to loudly claim credit for our successes just to survive and pay rent.
the exact opposite of the teachings.
Right. So if this ancient philosophy is correct about the mechanics of human energy, it suggests that the burnout so many of us feel isn't just a side effect of a busy week.
No.
It might be the fundamental consequence of existing in a system engineered to constantly shake the snow globe. Something to consider the next time the world demands that you move faster.